was cut, he was hurt, and man, he uncorked a shot that dropped Redmond. Seconds left to go in the round.
And look who's in to celebrate with him. The notorious one.
Wow, Conor McGregor trying to go at the referee. I don't know what's going on here.
Back to the daily grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Oh my god, I don't even know where to start with this, you guys. Holy smokes. Okay, let's just fucking start from the beginning. I guess that's always a good place to start. Alright, you guys seen the video in the beginning of Conor McGregor shoving the referee Mark Goddard, and there's a lot to unpack here. So fucking sit tight, strap in, buckle up your seatbelts, get your popcorn, do whatever the fuck you need to do. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now listen up. The fight was in Dublin. Check this out. Bellator 187 was in Dublin. The main event was AJ McKee versus 35-47 versus Brian Moore. AJ McKee versus Brian Moore was the main event. This card was definitely under the radar. I just went to do my predictions, as I told you guys a couple of videos ago. I was about to do them. I got done with my predictions. I was just predicting my baby slice fight. I went to predict the AJ McKee versus Brian Moore fight. I went to do the research on the guys, and I seen results. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about results? Then I was like, oh shit, this is in Dublin. I wonder if the fights happened earlier and they're gonna tape them tonight. So the fights are still gonna air tonight on Spike, but the results are already in. And the crazy shit Conor McGregor did is already in, which makes me still want to tune in. I'm still want to watch these fights. So if I can find a replay somewhere online, because I don't have cable, I'm going to try and watch the fights. And I got to see this Conor McGregor shit happen. Yo, live. So I did the results. I did my predictions, and I found out the results already happened. So fuck my predictions. But turns out my predictions were right. But like 4 of these fights were gimme predictions, and the other one was literally a coin flip. And I just so happened to pick heads for Charlie Ward. I flipped the coin, and Charlie Ward won. Even though I believe John Redmond had some big shots, because the Charlie Ward fight, which was the only toss-up for me here, the only one that was hard to predict, because I mean, I'll get into the details of the fights, but John Redmond is like 7-12, and all 12 of his losses, he's never lost by decision. They were all either submissions or knockout losses. 7-12, so a pretty, you know, not too pretty record. And he was fighting Charlie Ward, who was fighting out of SBG Ireland, Conor McGregor's teammate, who was 3-3. Now Charlie Ward was 3-3, and all 3 of his losses have came to knockout. 2 of his last fights were both his only fights in the UFC, and they were both knockout losses. So I was like, I mean, I still can't really gauge this guy. That's why it's hard for me to predict these Bellator cards, but I was still gonna do it just for fuck's sake. Well, then fucking my boy knocks on my door. He's like, man, you see what the fuck Conor McGregor just did? I'm like, what is he talking about? You know, I fucking go, boom, MMA fighting. I see this fucking Twitter link. I go to the Twitter, Conor McGregor, Mark Goddard, yo, and there's history here. If you remember in Artem Lobov's last fight versus Andre Fili, Mark Goddard was the referee that had to, you know, pretty much almost pause the fight. Hey, Conor, go sit your ass down, you know, because Conor was all hyped up, giving Artem Lobov advice when he was getting, you know, clipped up by Andre Fili. He was trying to hype up his teammate. That's the same card where Conor McGregor got caught on tape saying faggot backstage. Well, that was Artem Lobov's fight. And you can only have like 3 cornermen, so Mark Goddard had to tell Conor, hey, yo, go sit down. He's got 3 cornermen. You're not in his corner. You got to sit down during the fight. You're distracting the other fighter, and you can't be coaching him up if you're not in the corner. So Mark Goddard, Conor McGregor already had a little, you know, history. Well, now Mark Goddard's the referee, and Conor's got a few teammates on this card. Charlie Ward's one of them. Well, Charlie Ward comes out, motherfucking left hook. Larry lands a big left hook and drops John Redmond for the knockout. Conor McGregor jumps the fucking fence, runs in. He's so hyped up. Fucking Mark Goddard's like, all right, dog, chill out. Pushes him just a little bit, and he goes to see how the other fighter is. Well, Mark Goddard's checking on the other fighter. Conor McGregor's running up behind him, little to his knowledge, pushes his ass, yo. What? This was a push. This wasn't no Fabricio Verdum on Edmund Tarvarian push kick. This was a motherfucking shove. Like, what up, nigga? Like, my boy Conor McGregor was in the ring, not fucking around. I don't know what this means. Conor McGregor's the lightweight champion. He just fought Floyd Mayweather. He's supposed to be defending his title possibly December 30th. He just shoved a referee, but it's not in the UFC. It's in another organization. How does he get punished? Does he get punished? You can't fucking push a referee. Or does Charlie Ward get punished because it's his teammate that did it? Or, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how the fuck this is going to work. If Conor McGregor does get suspended, he might have to vacate his title just because the timeline. What if he gets suspended for 2 months? Well, maybe not. If he gets suspended for 2 months, that means he might be able to come back at UFC Boston. But if it's any longer than 2 months, he might get stripped of his title because someone's going to defend that lightweight title. And Tony Ferguson's got the interim belt, and it's already been 10 or 11 months since Conor McGregor won the lightweight belt without defending it. So there's got to be, as a champion, there in the contracts, it says you can be stripped if you don't defend your belt within a reasonable amount of time. Now, there's no specific, I don't think like a 12 months, 13 months, 18 months, but it has a reasonable amount of time. Usually that's about a year. Well, Conor's coming up on a year. If he gets a fucking 6-month suspension for this or a 4-month suspension and can't come back till St. Paddy's Day in March, they might have to take the title, which, I mean, that sucks, but Conor McGregor's been, you know, he did just shove a referee, and also that's still Conor McGregor, even if he doesn't have a title, it's still the money fight. If Conor McGregor doesn't have a title, then he can fight fucking GSP without having to worry about defending his title, and it's not really, well, it is his fault because he pushed the referee, but we don't even know if he's going to get sanctions for this. In my mind, I'm thinking he is. I mean, you can't just push a fucking referee like that, right? But anyways, let's get into the fucking fights that happened to Bellator, the Bellator results. Paul Redmond versus Sergio de Jesus Santos. All right. I took note on these fights because I was doing my predictions. And like I said, it wasn't really too hard to call these fights, and they were really quick because the matchup. So Sergio was 4-5, so he had a losing record. He was on a 2-fight losing streak, and this was his first fight in Bellator. All 4 of his wins were finishes, but he still had more losses than wins. And he was fighting a guy that was 13-7. So he was 4-5, fighting a guy that was 13-7. I picked the guy that was 13-7. The guy that was 13-7, Paul Redmond, was also from Ireland. This was in Dublin. So the guy from Ireland, who also had the better record, was also on a 2-fight win streak. So I picked him, and not too much of a surprise, he won. The funny thing about that John Redmond guy, like, I don't know much about him clearly. His nickname was Johnny Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, no, that's the guy in the next fight. Okay, so yeah, Paul Redmond was 13-7 and he won. All right, so next, I think it was his brother, John Redmond. His nickname is Johnny Jiu-Jitsu, and he was 7-12. So he's got a worse record than his brother. His brother's 13-7, Paul Redmond. Now, this is John Redmond, who's 7-12. Now, John Redmond, you know, has he's one impressive stat. He's never lost via decision. I don't know if that's good. Okay, I don't think that's good, but out of 12 losses, he has never lost via decision. He's either been knocked out, TKO'd, or submitted in all 12 of his losses. He's only got 7 wins. So, but he's also from Ireland. He was fighting Charlie Ward, which is where the Conor McGregor shit happened, and Charlie Ward was from SBG Ireland. John Redmond was the other Redmond's brother. Well, John Redmond got knocked out with the left hook. That's where the Conor shit happened. Next, we had Sinead Kavanagh, also from SBG Ireland, fighting Maria Casanova. Sinead Kavanagh was 4-2. Maria Casanova, a losing record of 3-5. Both of these girls were on 2-fight losing streaks. Sinead has been, and they both had also been very, very active though. Sinead, this was her 3rd fight in 2017. Her 2 losses both came this year, earlier, but she picked up a win versus Maria Casanova. Maria Casanova, she had fought she was 1-4 in her last 5 fights, but this was her 5th fight already in 2017. So this chick was very active. She lost again, so that moves her record to, I believe, 3-6. So Sinead had the winning record. She got the win tonight. Kimbo Slice Jr., Baby Slice, was 1-1. He was fighting a guy named Fred Freeman, who was 1-0. Baby Slice is Kimbo Slice's son, Kevin Ferguson Jr. So he lost his Bellator debut via 2nd-round submission, but then he picked up a win this year. Oh, I forget who the guy he won over, but it was a TKO victory. So Baby Slice got back on track. He was 1-1 coming into this fight. He won via submission, which is dope. You know, his dad was a knockout artist. A lot of people, you know, look at him and they're like, hey, I want, you know, they expect a knockout, and he got one in his first win in Bellator. But I think he has said, I've listened to a couple of his interviews, he wants to prove he's a well-rounded fighter, so it's dope to see him get a submission victory. He's now 2-1 in Bellator MMA, definitely a rising star. Kevin Ferguson Jr. Now the main event, AJ McKee 9-0 versus Brian Moore 10-5. Brian Moore was from Ireland. He was 2-1 in his last 3 fights. He won his Bellator debut via TKO, and since then that was his first Bellator fight. So he was 9-5 entering Bellator, won his Bellator debut. Now he's fighting a rising star of one of Bellator's hottest prospects, AJ McKee, undefeated. AJ McKee came in here and got the job done. Now he's 10-0. He's only 22 years old, 10-0. All of his fights have came in Bellator. You know, they're doing it the right way. They're not just throwing. He's one of the guys they're building up. So he got a big win in Ireland versus the hometown guy. So, and the guy was experienced, and he had a winning record. So that's a big win for AJ McKee. So that was the results, but yeah, definitely Conor McGregor stole the night. Conor McGregor, you know, he supports his teammates. He went to UFC Gdansk and supported Artem Lobov. Now, both the times he showed up to support his teammates, he's got a little wild. And even leading up to that, we seen Conor McGregor, you know, partying in the clubs and all type of shit, and talking about he's got like that fuck you money, and you know what I'm saying? So Conor McGregor, he's got that Floyd Mayweather money. He's wilding out. He might need to chill out just a little bit, because we don't want to see him get suspended. We don't want to see any like assault type shit. You know what I'm saying? Shoving a referee. I'm sure he's not going to take it that far, because he's a referee. He's also, I believe Mark Goddard's actually fought before professionally. So Mark Goddard, the referee, he's an experienced referee, but this is his second run-in with Conor McGregor. I don't know what the fuck is up with that. I don't know if Conor's got something against him, but you definitely cannot fucking shove a referee if you are a teammate. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck if you're Conor's, if you're somebody's dad, if you're Conor McGregor, who you are. You can't fucking jump the fence and shove a referee. So we'll see what happens here. Man, I don't know. That shit is crazy. So with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what the fuck you tell me in the comments. I'm out.
Bye, Felicia.